Video được Việt hóa bởi Ngọc Tân từ group tài nguyên dựng
Welcome
phim.
back. We're going to dive right into another major concept with post-production, and that is that post-production knowledge for a certain app will actually translate into other apps. So this is really good news if you know something like Adobe Premiere or Avid or Final Cut, or even something like an audio app like Pro Tools. A lot of the knowledge that you learned is pretty much the same in Resolve. It's just kind of a little bit of a different flavor. It's almost like a different language, but the big ideas are still there. So let's go back to our multiple app example. Anything that you've learned in your editing app will translate to editing inside of Resolve. Same with color correction. Color correction generally works about the same whether you're working in Resolve or a different app. Same thing with audio. This is especially true with audio. The tools are almost exactly the same in the Fairlight page of Resolve as they are in something like Pro Tools or Adobe Audition. And I'll probably be making references throughout this training to the similarities of parts of Resolve to software that you might have used. Again, if you haven't used post-production software, it's really not a big deal. The good news here is that the things that you learn in Resolve, if you sometime want to learn a different app, or maybe you're worried that if I learn Resolve, what if I need to maybe get a video editing job using something like Premiere? Anything that you learn in the editing portion of Resolve is probably going to pretty easily translate over to Premiere. And I say this from experience because I actually learned other apps before I learned Resolve. And when I opened up Resolve, I was like, oh, this is just like this other app. This is especially true for things like, again, the edit page and Premiere or Final Cut, things like the Fusion page and After Effects or Apple Motion, the Fairlight page and Audition or Pro Tools, the color tools and things like Lumetri Color or the color correction effects in Final Cut. And even the process of rendering inside of Resolve is very similar to working with something like Adobe Media Encoder or Apple Compressor. So this is really cool because you're not only learning Resolve, you're actually learning kind of the basics of how post-production works in general. Next, we're going to do one more concept, and then we're going to dive into actually working with the Resolve interface.
Video được Việt hóa bởi Ngọc Tân từ group tài nguyên dựng phim.